everybody. This sucks because I said I would make sure I was on the right script in my Google Drive, and I wasn't as soon as the recording started. So I think that's kind of a great way of how this whole series is going to play out. Like I said before, really big chaotic energy. Welcome to the first episode of Quizababble, the new show where I drag two of my friends into a Discord call and babble to them about some of my favorite subjects and quiz them along the way. Today I have with me two of my good friends. First up is Psychopomp, aka Jill. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Psychopomp, obviously. I go by Jill or Slushy, either works, and I do anime and video game art on Twitter.
And
Same name.
yeah, her link will be down in the description. And next up, maybe a familiar face or voice, I guess, in this case. For those of you who listen to the Legends of the New Republic podcast, we have Ghost Shark. Is it 20 or 27? Because it's different.
Either or, yeah.
Because on your Discord it's 27, and on Twitter it's 20. So I'm just gonna say Ghost Shark 20, aka Jason, aka my son, who's actually older than me and has his own son. Why don't you tell these lovely people a bit more about yourself?
Well, so you already stole my thunder with the whole giving out my name and nickname and everything and stuff.
Well,
so thanks for that. But no, I'm kidding. So yeah, I'm Jason, and otherwise known as all those other things that Jay said. And I don't really have any content to speak of right now. I dabbled in streaming back in the day. I haven't done it for ages, and I want to get back to it eventually, but as of right now, nothing. So,
and of course the podcast.
And the podcast, yes, that too, which you already mentioned. So hey,
I mean,
you're doing all my work for me.
Yeah, I mean it's okay to mention something more than once. All that subliminal messaging and all that junk. And I of course am your lovely host, the mischievous fairy herself, Sharkray24, aka Jay. So this is the first episode, and it's kind of like a pilot episode just to see how people like it. I'm gonna, and also for the benefit of anyone who just happens to come across this video, I'm gonna explain the rules. Also, I should explain the rules to both of you. I know I gave you like a really quick rundown, but I didn't explain all the rules. So you both start with a whopping 0 points.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Clap for that.
Story of my life.
Same. As I babble on about the selected subject that I have a great interest in and have done quite a lot of research on, I will throw out random quiz questions for the contestants to answer. To make this fair, I've tried to do my best to make sure that both contestants are pretty evenly matched on the subject. And so there isn't going to be like a ringing in thing. You can both have the chance to answer the question, any question, and get points from it, just because there is a limited amount of questions given the format. So answering a question correctly will give you +1 point. An incorrect answer will give you +0. I don't really see any reason why I'd be taking away points from people. I don't like that laugh.
You never know.
I don't trust like that.
I mean, we might suck.
Also, I might just give out points for things that aren't related to answers. Just if you want to do something like be funny or be creative, don't hesitate to do that. I thought about giving Jill a point right off the bat for the amazing artwork that she made of her OC.
Yes!
But
I'll take it.
She did it technically before the episode started, so I'm going to disqualify it.
No!
I apologize, Jill. But
it's okay.
That art
I'm offended, but it's fine.
That art should be on screen, right? Like, you did not have to do this, but you totally just made art of your main mascot specifically for this video.
See, I love drawing her, though. It's fine. Any excuse to do that, it's fine.
She's a fun character.
She's a cutie.
Yeah. So like I said, I do my best to try to find subjects that my contestants are roughly equally versed in, preferably subjects that neither of them have any kind of knowledge of. It's more funny that way.
Oh no.
So, with that being said, what's today's subject? Can I get a drum roll, please?
I don't even know what to pick that up.
It's world mythology, baby.
Oh.
For those of you who do not know, I'm actually an author, and my first book, which I'm in the process of writing, is all about different world mythologies. So I'd say I'm pretty well versed in this subject.
Man, I'm screwed.
I'm gonna turn it over to my contestants to ask you all, what is your prior knowledge with this subject? Let's have Jason go first this time.
So I know a little bit on like Greek and Roman mythology and stuff like that. Just kind of Googling names and historical figures and stuff like that. It's kind of weird nerdiness about me. When I tend to name things for like in video games stuff like that, I tend to use like mythological names, like Roman and Greek and stuff like that. And just as I look for those kinds of names, I just like go down to Wikipedia's and be like, oh, well, that dude sounded kind of cool, or that dude sounded like an a-hole.
Congratulations, you're a Japanese game designer. That was bad. But it's always funny when I'm playing a JRPG and they just throw in random mythological terms from Western mythology. I'm like, that's not what that word means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Jill?
They do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a really bad answer here. So honestly, probably the extent of my knowledge is, again, Greek and Roman, just like him. Probably mostly because I read a lot of Percy Jackson when I was a kid, which is really not the way you should learn this stuff. Or a little from probably world history, and a little from Smite, the video game. So I wouldn't say I'm exactly knowledgeable in the best way. More just nerdy stuff.
See, I knew Jason was not the best with the subject, because we've touched on the subject in the podcast, and I was worried that I'd accidentally picked something that you were, like, secretly great at. So I'm glad that your knowledge comes from Percy Jackson and Smite.
It's so bad. It's fine, though. I mean, they're good pieces of media, but
they are. And I don't think as an author myself, I don't think I can really discredit any kind of piece of media that tries to incorporate mythology into it, just because the whole thing about mythology is there's always a million different versions of every story.
Exactly.
So you can
most
really,
of them are wrong, but
I mean, oh boy, okay. That's a loaded sentence right there.
Well, I mean, specifically Percy Jackson. It doesn't get a lot of stuff right.
Yeah. But we're not here to throw shade at Percy Jackson. We're here to film a quiz show. This is true. So in addition to the theme of the episode, there's going to be a specific focus, since world mythologies is quite the broad topic to delve into, even for me. So, with that being said, today's focus will be on archetypes. Yay! Now, archetypes are probably a word that you've heard a lot before, but let's define it, shall we? I'm going to quote a page from PBS's Myths and Heroes webpage. Quote, "An archetype is a universal symbolic pattern. Examples of archetypal characters are the femme fatale, the trickster, the great mother and father, and the dying god. There are archetypal stories as well. Examples are stories of great floods, virgin births, creation, paradise, the underworld, and a final apocalypse. True to their universal nature, archetypal characters and stories appear again and again in myths across many diverse cultures." End quote. First question! question. What words? Let's try that again, shall we? First question. What supernatural practice is famous? Shit, I misread that. What spiritual practice is famous for drawing upon the universal archetypes in order to complete its goal? This question is a free answer, so I'm going to let both of you type your answers to me in the PMs. And once you two have locked in your answers, we will continue from there. All right, Jason has locked in his answer.
I'm gonna be honest. My Discord cut out when you're asking the question.
Oh,
God.
You missed the question. Okay.
Yeah, if you wanna just send it to me real quick,
what
it's
spiritual
fine.
practice is famous for drawing upon the universal archetypes in order to complete its goal? Did you get that, or did I cut out again? Jill?
Did we
Yeah, I
lose
got
Jill?
it. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
I was about to say, uh-oh, did we lose her?
I don't know if I'm stupid and I just don't know it.
You okay?
Yeah. Just choked on a lemon.
What a way to go.
It reminds me of that McElroy quote. And he reached into his bag and he pulled out an entire lemon and began to peel it. And then he paused and asked me for the time. So I told him, and he said, "Oh, okay," in a sad tone of voice, and put the partially peeled lemon back into his bag.
I don't know if I'm stupid or if I'm blanking right now, but I have no answer.
Just put something in. If you throw a rock at the moon, it might hit a star or something like that. Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay. So Jill, why don't you give us the lovely answer that you just sent me into your PMs?
I said rock. No, I don't know why. I can't think right now, but it's fine.
What about you, Jason?
I blanked too, so I just came up with the first thing I thought of, and in terms of like, spiritual type stuff, and I said witchcraft.
All right, witchcraft.
See,
So,
I was gonna say something like that, but I assumed.
So, you both got this one wrong.
Of
technically.
course.
I mean,
What do you mean technically? I got it right.
So here's the thing, is that the correct answer is tarot readings, which is indeed a form of witchcraft. So I'm going to give a point to Jason for being kind of close to the mark on that one.
Man, I really forgot the word tarot. I was like thinking about it for like 20 solid seconds and I'm stupid. My friend literally does them.
So it's funny that you bring that up because I'm not super knowledgeable about tarot reading, but I too have a friend who does a lot of tarot readings.
The cards are really pretty.
I asked to interview her for this episode so that I would have a little interview to send you guys about tarot readings. But here's the thing. We did the recording twice, and both times it didn't work. So,
technology.
If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be put in post, but I'll just have to summarize for you two what she said. So, let me find my PMs with her. Alright, so the way that tarot reading works is that there are a bunch of different cards, and different decks have different kinds of cards. And each card can mean a different thing depending on which order you draw it in, if it's reversed or if it's upright, if it's on its side. And I asked her about a couple misconceptions that a lot of people have about tarot reading. She said the main thing is that it is not fortune telling. It is a way to analyze the path that you're on in life, and it can help you adjust your path in a positive way. Some other things she mentioned are how there's a big misconception with two cards specifically, the Death card and the Devil card, which a lot of people, especially in like horror movies and stuff, portray as like really ominous bad cards to get.
Oh yeah.
When they're actually not. They're actually, Death is about a new beginning, whereas the Devil is about, geez, I wish I still had this interview. I think she said it was something along the lines of like, you're at the point where you need to make a decision if you get the Devil card. The real card that you want to worry about if it comes up in your reading is the Tower card. Because that one typically means something along the lines of there's impending disaster on the horizon. So, the next question I asked her was, how do archetypes play into tarot readings? Well, each major arcana is an archetype, like the Fool, the Magician, the Empress, etc. And what the major arcana represent is basically the human's journey towards enlightenment, starting with card number 0, which is the Fool, and going on, and with each arcana you get closer and closer to spiritual enlightenment. So yeah, I apologize that I can't have the little video file to send you guys. People who watched it, people who are watching the YouTube video probably don't even know that it never happened. So yeah, we're just gonna keep on going if everyone's ready.
Yes.
All right. Thank you to my friend Sydney for providing us with that lovely explanation. Her Tumblr will be linked down in the description. Moving along, we've defined what an archetype is, and we've seen one of their applications in spiritual practices. But that's not all. They also have many applications in psychology. Carl Gustav Jung is famous for his adaptation of Socrates' three parts of the soul for the three parts of the self for the modern audiences, as well as incorporating archetypes into how we view the human mind. Due to so many common and sometimes almost indistinguishable threads popping up in stories around the globe, Carl Jung proposed that there was some kind of way that humans' minds were all connected to one another. Ever heard of the collective unconscious, either of you?
You think so, yeah.
Yeah, well, our good old friend Carl is the guy who came up with that. But
Whoa.
yeah, but it wasn't on his own, apparently. According to Jung, in a dream that he had in 1913, Carl Jung claims that he was visited by a figure named Philemon, a tall elderly man with wings and a glowing crown or halo. This obviously probably makes you think of the Abrahamic angels, or at least the, less weird ones. But as far as I could find, I didn't have the time to read through his entire letters and writings before this episode because I didn't want to drive myself crazy. But he never, as far as I can find, he never explicitly refers to Philemon as an angel. And I could honestly go down a really long rabbit hole about Jungian psychology and Philemon, but we're not here to talk about psychology. We're here to talk about mythology, baby! So our next question has to do with Jungian psychology. Archetypes are famous for popping up all around mythology, sure, but they also pop up in art, too. Paintings, sculptures, literature, theater, cinema, and even video games. Question! Which video game franchise is famous for incorporating Jungian psychology into their stories and gameplay? This is a multiple choice question, so I will be giving you all the answers. Is it A, Far Cry, B, Shin Megami Tensei / Persona, C, Pokemon, or D, God of War? Please put your answers in the PM.
I answered it before you even said them.
Uh-oh. I think we know who's getting a point this round. If you're so confident.
So let me say
Well-
that's definitely one game I know Archetypes from.
So yeah, let's give a little bit of time for Jason to
Yes,
kinda,
definitely.
Do you want
Take
me
your
to
time.
send? Do you want me to send the answers in the group chat, Jason?
No, because that. There.
Okay.
I messaged
You've
you.
both locked in your answers. So, Jason, we'll start with you this time. What was your answer?
I said Persona.
Awesome. And what about you, Jill?
I also said Persona.
Well, points to both of you because the correct answer is Shin Megami Tensei / Persona.
Aw, yeah.
It's a lot more prevalent in the first two games. I will stand Persona 2 forever. Don't at me.
I haven't played it.
Um,
I need to.
so it's a lot more prevalent in the first two games, with a character named Philemon guiding you through the collective unconscious. They really weren't being subtle with those two games. But the element of Young's writings remain in the series to this day. So, with all this background information out of the way, let's dive into some actual mythology, shall we? Who's excited?
I am.
Yay! Point to Jill because she actually answered my question instead of making a noise. I could be joking.
It's fine.
I could be joking. Who knows? And you know what, guys? You know what I just realized? I'm a big dummy because I'm supposed to be keeping tally marks in my notebook. And, I don't.
Wait, don't we each have one?
I thought I had 5 and she had like 8.
Wait a minute.
Don't try to confuse me here. Hold on. Hold on.
Numbers
It's
are
so hard to write with carpal tunnel.
I feel that.
Alright. So let's see. First question was the witchcraft one. Or the tarot reading one. Jason got a point for that one. And then the second question was the Persona one. You both got a point for that. And I joked about giving a point. Who knows? I might. It might make this game more interesting.
Ooh.
Alright. So yeah, Jill got a point because she actually answered the question that I asked. So
That's fair.
So, the great thing about archetypes is that they show up everywhere. Meaning that if you see, for example, the Green Man archetype, hell, your conspiracy theorists, go wild in the comments. This one is for you. In a mythology you are unfamiliar with, you can most likely take what you know from that archetype and get an idea of who the character is and what role they fill within their respective mythos, with mild deviations here and there, of course. The most famous of these archetypes, of course, is the Trickster. Most everyone has heard of a Trickster character, even if they don't know about all this stuff that we've already talked about. Famous examples include Loki from Norse mythology, Hermes from Greek mythology, Anansi from Ashanti mythology, Krishna from Hindu mythology, Susanoo no Mikoto from Japanese mythology, Wisake-Jack from Cree and Algonquin mythology, and many, many more. Really quickly, I want to make sure I know what time it is, since we've been recording for a while. Oh, wait a minute! It's question time, baby! That's never gonna get old when I scare you guys with that. Just saying. Question. Who is my, as in Jay, your lovely host, favorite trickster from mythology? Uh-oh, it looks like I'm testing you both to see how well you know me on this one. It's a free right answer, so go ahead and put your answers in the PMs and I'll be waiting for you.
Crap.
Oh, shoot.
You've both got your gears grinding, I can tell.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come up with an educated guess.
I feel like I feel like Jason may have a slight advantage here since I do a podcast with him pretty much every week.
And I feel like you've
Just
mentioned
a
it
slight.
before, and I can't remember.
I have most definitely mentioned it before, most likely.
Huh.
I mean, the worst thing, if you don't know, the best thing you can do is guess and be creative. And you might get a point if I am feeling generous. You are at my mercy. All right, Jill has locked in her answer.
Now, if it's right, I don't think it is.
I like how you use all caps to show that you
Sometimes
were.
you just gotta yell.
Yeah, you just even when you don't know, you just gotta yell sometimes.
It was a distress answer. It's fine.
Uh-huh. All right, that's an interesting answer, Jason.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so we'll let's hear those answers. We'll start with Jill for this one. What you got, girl?
I said Hermes, but I don't know.
All right, and what about you, Jason boy?
The only real thing that was coming to mind at the moment was Sisyphus, and I kind of felt like, oh, wait a minute. So here's my question. I might even have the wrong mythology, thinking about the wrong mythology guy here. But isn't he the one that was pushing up the rock for eternity?
No. Well,
That's
yes,
isn't it?
yes.
Okay, well, yeah, Agamemnon. I changed it back.
Yeah.
I changed my answer.
You're changing your answer?
Agamemnon.
Agamemnon. Sorry. That's a reference to a play called The Complete Works of William Shakespeare Abridged. If you haven't seen it, it's free on YouTube. You should watch it. But it's funny that you bring up Agamemnon because he is a very important character in one of the oldest Greek plays known to man, which is the Oresteia. And for one of my theater classes this semester, we actually read a book that was a modern adaptation of the Oresteia, in like I said, modern, that takes place in South Africa right after the abolition of apartheid, and it's called the Melora, or not the Melora, just Melora, and it's by. That's the wrong script. Hold on, and it's by Yael Farber, and it's actually really good. Like, I would highly recommend this play for like anyone who's interested in plays at all. It's a good read. It's a very fantastic adaptation. But now that I've gone off on that side rant, I need to find my script again. But you're both wrong.
Well,
shocking.
You're both wrong. You both had it in Greek mythology, which is an interesting choice. Because as much as I do love Greek mythology, I wouldn't really call any of the Olympians my favorite anything.
understandable.
Yeah. So, my favorite trickster is Anansi from Ashanti mythology. Now, I love this little guy. He started out as a simple spider, and through sheer wit and cleverness, he became a god. He gave stories to people. He stole the testicles of a tiger, which then caused an eternal feud between tigers and monkeys that lasts to this day, and much, much more. Even with all that wit, however, he was eaten by a fish this one time, but his sons... Yes?
Oh, no, I was just making a noise. I'm like, oh.
He was eaten by a fish this one time, but his sons were all so clever because of what their father had taught them that they were able to save him. So yeah, I grew up in a school that was very pro diversity. Like we had Native American storytellers coming in, we had African American storytellers coming in, we had like Irish dancers coming in, like so many like different cultural groups I was exposed to from a young age, and Anansi has always been one of my favorites to listen or read a story about. So, it should be also stated about archetypes that pantheons are not limited necessarily to one of each archetype. For example, Norse mythology has Loki, but Odin is also a trickster, and even Tyr to some degree, which is interesting for a war god. But you should buckle in because I'm about to tell you a full actual mythology story now.
Oh.
Sit down, children, gather around the campfire.
Sing our campfire song.
Yeah. Let's gather around the campfire and sing our campfire song.
CAMPFIRESONG song.
I'm gonna give Jill a point for that one for just continuing the song.
I'm totally out of tune, but it's fine.
And you know what? You tried your best, and I reward bravery here.
Yes.
So, this one is a very famous story from the Poetic Edda, where Odin hears of a wise Jotun, which means someone from Jotunheim, and those are the giants, named Vafthrûdnir. And yes, this is a flex because I said Vafthrûdnir correct on my first time. And yes, I know with Norse names, there are so many different ways to pronounce them. So I went with the Norwegian pronunciation. Go ahead and roast me in the comments about how your pronunciation is so much superior to Vafthrûdnir in every way.
I think it sounds sick. It's fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. I like the Norse and that all those kinds of languages just because you just sound so badass when you say them.
True.
Oh yeah, and like Norse is like the one language that anyone who studies mythology is like as soon as you try to get them to pronounce a Norse word, they're like, nope, not gonna do it. Nuh-uh, can't do it. So that's my big flex on the mythology community, is that I can pronounce Vafthrûdnir, whereas most people just put the name up on screen and say, yeah, that. But back to our story. When Odin hears about Vafthrûdnir and his amazing intellect, he knows that he has to meet this person. See, Odin has always craved knowledge, however he could obtain it. He even took out his own eye and hung himself, or crucified yourself, depending on if you want to believe the post-Christian writers or not, on Yggdrasil, the World Tree. That's another archetype, by the way, in his pursuit of knowledge. So when Odin, who is in disguise, by the way, meets with Vafthrûdnir, he is first impressed with the giant's knowledge, but when he picks up on his pride, he challenges him to a contest of wits. Question! Never gets old, Jill. Never gets old.
I get scared.
It's okay. It's okay. What are the stakes in this battle of wits? A large sack of gold. B, the best hunting bow in all the 9 realms. C, life and death. D, a magical fishnet that always hauls in fish. Think about it and send your answers to me in the PMs. I just heard something fall over. Is everyone okay?
I'm fine.
Okay.
Oh, I have my mic muted. It wasn't me. Do you think you could send the answers again?
Yeah.
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 I have like a 3-second attention span, and I forget things.
That's super valid. That's super valid. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
All right, you've both locked in your answers, but Jason is on mute and typing something in the group chat, so I'm concerned.
Uh-oh.
Is everything not okay? Did you lie to me?
What in the
Your
world?
own mother?
I'm gonna be honest, I'm still embarrassed about that first question. I feel like I was, like, anxious and I don't know how to...
It's all good.
Uh-oh. The quiet zone recording has not been invited. Oh.
It's all good. All right.
Is it your little fighter pilot?
No.
No. Okay. I'm not gonna ask who it is then, because honestly, your son is the only person I care about in your family because he's cute.
That's fair.
He's cute and he makes cameos on the podcast. That's all that matters.
He does?
Well, he hasn't really made a cameo yet. I talk about him all the time, but
You guys gotta link me to the podcast. I need to listen.
that's gonna have to change one of these days. He's
No, wasn't like a week or two ago that he came in and you were like, I'm recording, and he was like, but I forget. I could be thinking of, I think I might be thinking of my theater class actually, because our professor has a son who very much loves to come in and cause problems during class. Right. I just sent you the Twitter for the podcast since you asked.
Thank you.
I dropped this whole recording, everything we were doing, just to give you the podcast link. All right.
Bless.
So you've both locked in your answers.
Yes.
All right. Let's start with you, my son.
So I chose the whole fishing net thing because for no other reason really than that I'm kind of hungry right now.
Mm-hmm. And
so always being able to catch fish, it's
true.
And what about you, Jill?
I will say exactly what I quoted. I said, I'm going to say D because a magical fishing rod sounds dope. Literally no other reason.
It's Minecraft and you've enchanted a fishing rod.
Exactly. I honestly thought of Minecraft.
All right. Fine. So, well, the point goes to nobody.
Yay!
Of course.
Everybody in Norse mythology is pretty bloodthirsty all the time. I think they need to, get an intervention or something. The correct answer is C. If you die in the riddle contest, you die in real life. So what Oh, Jason's on mute.
No, I'm not.
Oh, he's back. Did you hear all what I said?
Yeah.
Okay. So, back to our story. Let's see what happened. Well, both contestants were pretty evenly matched, kind of like in this episode. Somewhat frustrated by this, Odin decided to give an impossible question. Odin looked at Vafthrûnir dead in the eye and asked, at the funeral of Balder, what were the words that Odin whispered into his son's ear as they sent him off? Seeing as nobody but Odin would have any idea what Odin whispered into Balder's ear at the funeral, Vafthrûnir quickly put two and two together and realized he was screwed, and that's where most tellings of this story kind of end, because I think we all know what happens next. If this story sounds kind of familiar, that's because it inspired the scene in The Hobbit where Bilbo and Gollum have their own riddle contest, and Bilbo wins by unintentionally asking, what do I got in my pocket? And we all see what you did there, Tolkien. We all know you were heavily inspired by Norse mythology and a bunch of other things. Fun fact, the way that he got half of his names for his books was just looking through the phone book of, I believe it was Springfield, Kentucky.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, what?
That's how he got the name. That's how he got the name Bilbo Baggins. That's how he
What?
That's how he got so many of his names from his book.
I mean,
a rural Kentucky phone book.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
He actually had a second house in Kentucky, which is pretty cool because I live in Kentucky. So
There
I can
you
brag
go.
that Tolkien had a second house here in my state. All right.
The necessary accent.
Yeah, I'm a little Southern belle, don't you know? So, remember how I said that not every pantheon is limited to one archetype? Well,
Yes.
not every character is limited to one archetype. We mentioned Hermes earlier, and he is a trickster, but he's not just a trickster. He's also a messenger and a psychopomp. What is a psychopomp, you ask? That's a good question. Final question! I had to make it extra loud this time because it is the final question and your last chance for points from a question. So the stakes are high with this one.
I'm scared.
What is a psychopomp? A. Someone who was known for appearing all around with seemingly no trace of how they got from point A to point B. B. An individual who is skilled in the art of medicine. C. Kind of a jerk. Or D. They helped dead people. Give your answers in the PMs and I will be waiting for you. As soon as I figure out who the heck keeps messaging me on Facebook.
Not me.
Yeah, you don't have me on Facebook yet, dingus. I sent the options.
Yeah, I have to read them because
Jill
I want to
has.
say
Jill
Hi, what?
heard.
I was gonna say Jill has locked in her answer.
Yes.
I've heard this before, and I'm trying to
I did too. I don't even know where I heard this.
Yeah,
I'll try to figure it out.
Well, you know what? Sure, why not? Only because I didn't want to make a whole lot of noise trying to type out all that.
All right.
So.
You have both sent in your answers. So, this is the final question, and this is your last chance for points. So, Jill, why don't you bring us on home with your answer?
I said D, helped dead people out.
I help dead people. And what about you, Jason?
I said it was B, someone who's skilled in the art of medicine.
Ah, that's a good point. Hermes was indeed the god of medicine. But what is the correct answer? Well, Jill gets a point because the correct answer is D. A psychopomp helps dead people, specifically by guiding them down to the underworld or whatever kind of afterlife the culture believes in. Other famous examples include the Valkyries of Norse mythology, the Anito of Filipino culture, and the Archangel Michael from Abrahamic text. Well, before I reveal the final score to our contestants, let's review. Jason, what did you think of all that we've covered in today's episode, and what have you learned?
It was very stimulating, and I learned a lot more about mythological things outside of Greek and Roman than I didn't know beforehand. So there.
And what about you, Jill?
I'd say pretty much the same thing. Now I know a little bit more than just, average Greek Roman knowledge.
A little bit more than Percy Jackson, a little bit more than Smite. Yeah, I haven't played Smite. It actually looks pretty fun.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, I might play it eventually. Obviously, this was just the pilot episode, kind of, so I didn't want to make it super long, and I didn't really go super into depth. Future episodes, if this show continues, will probably be a lot longer, probably be a lot more in depth, probably have a lot more questions and stuff. And with that all being said, let's review the score. The winner is... Everyone give a drum roll, please, or something. We tried.
I don't want to bang
My
on.
mic was muted.
Yeah, I don't want to bang on the table because that's gonna make my mouse go or my microphone go nuts.
Here, let me try again.
Nice. The winner is Jill! Congratulations!
I'd like to thank the Academy. Won by guessing.
Hey, Jill, I need you to take a step back. I haven't asked you if you have a speech yet, okay?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Congratulations! Is there anything you'd like to say as the winner?
I don't know.
Well, you seem to have a lot of stuff
Twitter,
to say when you cut me off.
Well, that's true. Okay, fine. I'd like to thank the Academy.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Which Academy?
A woman of little words.
That's fair, you know? Alright, thank you both for participating in today's episode. And to all of those of you watching, make sure to follow the links down in the description to see more content from these lovely people. Also in the description are some links if you want to read more about the subjects that we talked about today. Thank you all, and have a mythic day.
Fill me out with your smile. Now the sunshine brings the light.